Just be glad for all you have that's in today.
Hey everyone, Connie here, and welcome to my blind reaction to One Punch Man, Season 2, Episode 7. So yeah, we're here with another episode of One Punch Man, and yeah, I'm excited. I'm hoping for this to be another great episode. We're getting a lot with the Monster Association in these past couple episodes. We're getting to see like what they're up to, and we've even met Demon Lord Orochi, or Demon King Orochi, either way. Who is apparently the leader of the Monster Association, which is pretty interesting. Yeah, and like I said last time, if you know what that name is a reference to, you understand why this is a big fucking deal. So it's going to be interesting to see more into this, more into the Monster Association, what they can do, and just how powerful they can be as main antagonistic force for the series. Now, we still know kind of that they're going to be no match for Saitama because, again, that's kind of literally the point of this series. Saitama is the most powerful thing in existence. And I think that the concept of maybe having him have a challenge is fine, but the idea of like giving an enemy that can actually legitimately give him like actually be able to take him out or even just defeat him in general just seems far-fetched to me. Because again, that's literally the entire point of the series. It's supposed to be a parody of shonen and superhero media, in which a lot of those shonen anime and stuff have main characters, main heroes who are obnoxiously OP. Saitama is a play on that by having him be the most overpowered thing in existence, by having him be literally stronger than everyone else. The plot literally demands that he be so. So the concept of possibly having him be overpowered by anyone, being able to be defeated, literally makes no sense. The only way it could work is if it were somehow done by like messing with him on a mental level. Like if he were defeated not physically, but more mentally or emotionally. Like something stopped him from fighting, or something kept him from being able to have the confidence to throw a punch or something. I don't know. Something like that. You get the general idea. But even so, Saitama doesn't seem like a character who's really affected emotionally that much. Outside of like things like a supermarket sale. He's not one to like really have a big issue with that. So it's like I don't think that's going to be much of a factor. Like even compared to like other heroes and stuff, like Metal Bat, you could see villains going after his family, which could possibly give him pause. But it's like Saitama, to our knowledge, doesn't have any notable family. We haven't seen any, we haven't met any, so it's doubtful that that's going to come into play as a card for the Monster Association to use. And Genos, like, I don't think that's gonna, I don't think using Genos or someone like that, one of Saitama's friends, would work either. Especially Genos, who can just get rebuilt. I don't think that'll work for Saitama. So I don't see how they would be able to go across with that idea either. So I think the Monster Association is supposed to be more of a example of this horrifying evil organization in terms of everyone else. In terms of like all the other characters. Fubuki, King, even Tatsumaki may have trouble with them. I think that's what it's supposed to more be. Saitama, of course, would be able to take them out all, like, just completely easily. But I think it's more to give us, like, to build more into the world and the other characters. Because Saitama's an outlier. He to our knowledge at the moment, is human, although I have my doubts about that. I do legitimately believe he might not be fully human. But even so, he is an outlier amongst everyone else. He is that much stronger than everyone else. And so I doubt that he's going to really come into play against the association just yet. Now, we have the Monster Association taking out all of these heroes and stuff. Super S failed, though, at taking out Fubuki and all them because Tatsumaki did come in and stop that. And we do have one of the Monster Association members heading towards the stadium where Saitama is at, and where, just in general, the tournament is going on. Genos has been taken out, it seems, which is bad, obviously, and a lot of other heroes as well. Fubuki was almost taken out. King is playing games, I guess. He's just doing his own thing. And I think this would be a good chance to see more of the S-Class heroes. With this big Monster Association attack that's going on right now, I mean, we already saw Metal Bat. I think this would be a good chance to show off some more of the heroes. Let's see what characters like Watchdog Man or Pig God can do. Because I haven't really seen any of them do anything, you know? And there's a lot of other ones in the S-Class who we really haven't seen a lot of. I think last episode kind of teased Puri Puri Prisoner a little bit, considering the cat dude, the cat monster, was at the prison where he was supposed to be, and it was said that he wasn't there. So he might be coming back into play. We've seen a little bit of Silverfang along with his brother Bomb. I don't know if they're going to have a big factor in this because they're more focused on trying to find Garo at the moment. And then what's his thing going to be now going forward? Because the Monster Association's kind of eclipsing him at the moment. And honestly, I'm actually, that's one thing I will say. One thing I will say as a negative about this season so far is that I feel like the Garo and Monster Association things should have been kept a little more separate. Because I just feel like trying to have them both at the same time is it's Spider-Man 3-ing it. If you remember, the original Sam Raimi trilogy, Spider-Man 3, had too many villain storylines going on at the same time. It had Venom, it had Sandman, it had Harry Osborn's Goblin. So it's just it's kind of the same thing here. It's like there's nothing wrong with having a lot of villains, but you have to work on the storylines in a reasonable way if you're going to do so. And it feels like just both of them are too big to have at the same time. Garo had been built up since the first season. He's being legitimately built up as this massive deal. And we see him early in this season so far taking out these S-Class heroes and stuff. He's a big fucking deal. He is. But then all of a sudden we have the Monster Association brought in as well. And it's I think the Monster Association is going to last longer than Garo. They are going to go a lot further into things. But at the same time, I wish they kind of focused a little more on Garo first. Maybe the first half of this season, let's say the season's 26 episodes. I don't think it actually has an official count for episodes yet. But let's just say it's 26. So it's the first 13 episodes focus more on Garo, and then during that time start to introduce the Monster Association, but only have them start this attack in the second half. Episode 14, 15, somewhere around there. And I get that this is, again, probably how the original comic by One went, and probably how the manga went. But still, it just feels like it's all happening. There's too much going on at once. And don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that this is breaking the season or anything. I'm not saying that it makes the season crap. I'm not one of those people who look at this as something that stops the season from being great, because it doesn't. The season's still great, and it's still amazing, and it's still honestly better than season 1 still. I don't care what anyone says. It is better than season 1. But yeah, it is an issue. It just feels like Garo's kind of being just thrown to the wayside almost. Um, but either way, I want to see more of what these S-Class heroes can do, and I'm hoping that we get more of them with this monster attack really reaching its climax here. And with the debut of Orochi and everything, as well as his assistant, who I don't think we got the name of yet. With the debut of them, things are definitely going to be kicking into high gear. So I'm excited to see what more we got. We also still have more with the tournament, which is building towards Saitama versus Suryu. Definitely going with those two as the two finalists. I don't know who's going to win, though. I'm kind of leaning, I want to lean towards Saitama just because, again, the OP factor. But I don't know. I mean, Suryu is very powerful. I don't think he's as powerful as Saitama, obviously. But I don't know. I don't even know if the tournament will finish with this monster attack going on. So we'll just kind of have to see. Right now, I kind of have three theories. Saitama's going to win is my first. Second, the monster attack will interfere with the tournament and have it be canceled. Or the third, Saitama will leave the tournament to focus on the monster attack. In which case, Suryu will kind of be the winner by disqualification, basically. Or more accurately, I guess, forfeit. So yeah, those are my three theories on how this tournament is going to end. Silver Fang has been kind of in the shadows as well lately, going back to him. I'm hoping they bring him into like more of a focus soon, especially with Garo and everything. What I'm thinking they're going to probably do is this is just the introduction of the Monster Association. Again, I don't think they're going to be the main villain quite yet. I think it's still mostly Garo. I think they're just introducing it. They're going to finish through with their attack, and then they're probably going to pull back and maybe do more later on while we return our focus to Garo a little bit. At least I'm hoping that's kind of what happens because, again, we need to focus on one and not both at the moment. It's just a little much. But either way, I am very excited to see what we got, so let's just get this started. When the screen fades to black, pause this redirect and go to the description below. Follow the link to the reaction, and after you watch it, come back here to the redirect and resume play. Because after it fades to black and then fades back in, everything from that point forward will be my afterthoughts. And will contain spoilers to the episode. So that being said, thank you so much for tuning in, and I will see you at the reaction. And we are back, and we'll begin with spoilers in 3, 2, 1, now. Okay, so another great episode. This one focused a lot more on the tournament, though we got a couple other little things here and there. But yeah, I'm mostly just going to talk about the tournament here. So we continued to see a little bit of a couple little fights here, but it was mostly all about Saitama versus Suryu in the end, like I predicted and was honestly kind of obvious. And so at first, Suryu was testing him with some feign kicks. But then he kind of stepped it up and started actually attacking, but not with all of his ability. It was only after the match ended, because Saitama was disqualified, that Suryu actually started going serious. And in the end, he did pretty much nothing to Saitama. And Saitama defeated him with a butt bump. Peach players on Smash Bros. Would be proud. As a Peach player on Smash Bros., I mean, I could say that. But in all seriousness, yeah, it's kind of funny just how strong Suryu is. And it kind of goes to what I was saying in my pre-thoughts. Yeah, these characters are going to be obnoxiously strong and everything. A lot of these characters we see. Not only from the Monster Association, which I mentioned in the pre-thoughts, but also from a lot of these other heroes. Saitama is stronger. Now, one thing I actually thought of while watching this episode, because Tatsumaki showed up again, Tatsumaki would possibly be one of the only characters who could defeat Saitama. And hear me out here. It's not because she's stronger than him physically. No, not even close. Her psychic powers could probably stop him in his tracks, couldn't they? Like, her psychic powers are so fucking strong, she could probably just completely stop him from moving altogether. Now, if Saitama can somehow break out of a psychic hold, then that's another thing. Which he probably can, let's be honest, because again, he's supposed to be, he is literally created to be the strongest being in existence. So, yeah, he probably can. But, like, just thinking about if he couldn't, if that is one thing he couldn't do, that's insane to think about. Um, I don't know. Maybe that will come down to that. I doubt it though. With them both being heroes, even though Tatsumaki's a bit hot-headed, I don't think she'd actively fight Saitama. Not super seriously, at least. Even though she has no issue, I feel like putting other heroes even in their place. I don't think she's like that. We did see in the OVA, we did see her interacting with other heroes during that spa episode, the one with Child Emperor kind of taking notes from Detective Conan and Zombie Man's death. That was a great OVA, by the way. But yeah, we saw her interacting with the others, and even though she would like get upset at them and everything, um, she's not gonna like actively attack them or anything. She does understand the difference between heroes and villains, and she knows that it's not right to attack innocent people or heroes in a lot of cases. We got to see a couple of the other S-Class heroes in this one as well. We saw Flashy Flash actually do something. He seems really, really fast, and a lot of the flash also comes from his sword. We saw, oh, what was the name? Well, we did see Watchdog Man, but apparently he's not going to really appear. We did see Atomic Samurai and his Fellowship of Swordsmen, basically, including the one who ended up becoming a monster. And I am going to talk about that in a minute. But there was someone else we saw, and I cannot remember the name for the life of me. So give me a second while I look through this. Yeah, we have Pig God. Pig God. We saw Pig God take on this Medusa serpentine monster, and apparently his ability is he just eats people. He just eats things. He also seems to have some kind of he's what's the word for it? Resistance. He has this resistance to poison, which is pretty interesting. Maybe it's because of just how fat he is. Like the dude is fucking huge. So we got to see him. We got to see a little bit of a Mai Mask, and a couple others. I think. Looking through this, but yeah, the S-Class heroes I think are definitely becoming more of a thing that they want to show off this season, because they did have them in last season, but they didn't show them off as much. They tried to keep them a little more restrained. I guess for later parts to show off. But yeah, let's talk about that scene with the swordsmen. So, Atomic Samurai is gathering with his fellow sword masters, and they're just discussing things. They're discussing how they want to go after Garo because they're unsure about Silverfang being able to take him out. Because Atomic Samurai believes that Silverfang may still have a soft spot for Garo, and that he may try to go easy. Although I don't think that's true. I think Silverfang would go all out. But Atomic Samurai and them aren't so sure, so they kind of form this alliance to go after Garo. However, that's when one of the others, who hadn't spoken up yet, does so. And he's basically like, oh, when did this become such a buddy-buddy club? No, we're about being the strongest. And then he's like, I have monster cells. And by eating these, you get super strength, and you basically become a monster. And it's like, it's basically our goal to become stronger. So you guys should just hurry up and eat these. He's basically trying to convince them to become monsters as well. And let's talk about that. So monster cells. One, obviously they're not like cells, like body cells, because they're way too big. They're more like some kind of this. They're almost like this kind of fleshy, goopy kind of substance that apparently, when eaten, can turn people into monsters. And this does raise a question, as I mentioned during the reaction. How many of these monsters that we've seen up to this point started off as human, and weren't like natural monsters? How many of them ate the monster cells? And it's a legitimate question. And the thing is, we don't know. Now, a lot of the time in season 1, especially, we met a lot of monsters who are like, "Oh, I love crab too much, so I became one," and shit like that. And it was always kind of just utterly ridiculous. But what if that's not actually true? What if somehow these people were turned into these monsters because of these monster cells? And I think I was kind of theorizing on this last time with the last episode too. Like, what if I think I was kind of theorizing. I don't know if I actually said it or if I was just thinking it, but what if Orochi and them could turn people into monsters? And what if, rather than, like, for example, Crablante, what if, like, instead of like Crablante becoming a crab just because he liked crab so much, what if it was that kind of subconscious thought that chose his form when he was turned? And now I'm kind of thinking that may be even further the truth, with the idea of maybe he was even fed a monster cell against his will, or even without him knowing, like maybe in his sleep. He was fed a monster cell and it turned him. And he just thought it was something like that. Oh, he just thought it was like, oh, I mean, I loved crabs so much, so that must be why I became this monster. Which is really still ridiculous as hell, but yeah, what if it's kind of something like that? Maybe the Monster Association is sneaking in places and force-feeding people these monster cells to create more monsters to wreak havoc on the town. And what if it's not even just so much maybe it's not even so much that the cells just transform the people into monsters in general, but maybe they also, like, affect the eater's brain, so that it affects, like, especially the aggressive side of the brain that would normally hold them back as humans, for the most case. But maybe it, like, unleashes that restraint a little bit and allows them to become just a lot more aggressive and violent, and even like releasing their restraint on morality a little bit. We don't know exactly how these monster cells work, so it's possible, isn't it? That would be really fascinating. And yeah, it makes you wonder, how many of these monsters have we seen were humans, how many were natural? And is there even such a thing as a natural monster, or are all monsters human? There's a lot of questions that this really makes us question. Was Orochi human at one point? And if so, if all monsters were initially human, where did the monster cells come from? Are they alien based? Because, I mean, we did see aliens at the end of the first season who are legitimate aliens too. So it's possible. There's a lot of questions that this episode raises with this, though. The introduction of these monster cells is big. It's a massive fucking deal. So I don't think this is just going to be glossed over. I think this is like some big development for the series. And this show, even with season 1, definitely always had this feel to where it was like, yeah, it's a parody. It's mostly comedy. But it definitely has always felt like it was still headed somewhere. Like it was still going to give us a legitimate threat, a legitimate story to it. It never felt like it was just going to be like one of those typical comedy anime that doesn't really have a story, that is just being a parody for the sake of parody. No, it always felt like it was going to have a story, always felt like it was going to have legitimate threats, etc., etc. And now, during the reaction, I also questioned, would we see anyone we know become a monster? And I'm still wondering that, especially with the monster cells and all. Um, and if I had to choose anyone, I would say that one of the people in the tournament strikes me as possible for that kind of thing. Especially with this, I think his name was Goketsu, this monster who defeated Genos that is headed towards the stadium. But yeah, it's like there's one guy in the tournament, Chose, the one who Saitama faced, who had a very monster-like ideology. We already know Garo has already denied becoming part of the Monster Association. We already know that. But this Chose guy is very monster-like in his ideology, and it seems like his main interest in all of this is basically to torture and destroy just completely. He even basically said execute in regards to his opponents. He wants to kill people. That much has been made very clear with his little part in this episode. So Chose I could see as being someone who might possibly want to go over to the side of the monsters. As for other characters we've met, I don't think that what is his name? Speed of Sound Sonic. I don't think Sonic will go over to the monster side. He's more or less neutral in all of this. He's not for the monsters, but he's not for the heroes. He honestly right now he just wants revenge on Saitama. That's all he's worried about. He's definitely not going to, and I don't really think I can think of any other characters who, at this moment, I really think would. Even Suiryu, who seemed very very aggressive and intense and everything. No, he definitely does not have a monster ideology. He just kind of wants freedom and to have fun and everything with his insane ability and strength. He's not a bad guy necessarily. He just has some questionable ethics and all. Yeah, I can't really think of any other character off the top of my head who I feel really would go for that. Like, really. Like I said, even Garo, he's already denied it. And honestly, I don't think it's really that appealing to him. Because I think he already sees himself as a monster. I don't think he would want to eat the monster cells, because I think he'd view it as kind of redundant. Yeah, I don't think it really appeals to him. I don't know. Chose's the only one I can see right now who possibly would. But I might even be reading too much into that. I guess we'll find out. Because again, this Goketsu guy, I think that's the name, is headed towards the stadium. But yeah, this is definitely continuing this really heavily. Now, there's a lot more of the S-Class heroes we still haven't seen yet. We still haven't seen Puri Puri Prisoner, who was again hinted at last time. We haven't seen Watchdog Man actually fight yet, though Garo was about to go after him when a monster attacked there, so I assume we're going to next episode, especially because it kind of showed us Watchdog Man at the end. And there's a lot of other heroes. We still haven't seen the rank 1 of Class S. I don't even remember his name. But yeah, like Class S rank 1, we haven't really seen anything from him. There's also a guy in there, I think his name is Blackluster. We haven't seen much of anything from him. There's, I think, quite a few S rank heroes we still have yet to really see in action. So I'm hoping we get to see more of that. Of course, I want to see more Tatsumaki and all, because she's awesome. And someone pointed out last time when I was talking about my love for Tatsumaki and everything, how it's like you did a Yandere or Tsundere character right when I like her, and it's like that is true. That is true, because I don't like Tsundere characters normally. I don't like the trope. I think that those kind of characters are normally very annoying and unlikable. But for some strange reason, the way that they created Tatsumaki, the way that she's characterized, the way that she acts, her appearance and everything, her legitimate strength and ability, something about just how she's created as a character just instantly attracts me to her. I just really love her character. I really, really do. And I can't fully explain it. I mean, it's not even the lolly aspect of things, too, even though I do enjoy a good lolly character from time to time. I mean, Steins Gate Zero is a good example of that. Um, it's not even that, because there's a lot of lolly tsunderes out there. It's not like a new aspect to the tsundere character. So that's not even it either. I don't really know. I don't fully know why I love her so much, but I just do. Um, yeah, it's just I can't help it. But yeah, and I mean, she's not the only character in the show I really love either. So it's not like it's just her. She is my favorite character, but it's like I love Fubuki, I love King, I love Saitama, I love Genos. A lot of these characters I love. So it's just like I just want to be able to see these characters in more action and maybe even get to love more characters. I mean, I've already started to love Garo as a character. He's a fantastic villain character. So it's just like I want to see more of these characters, see more of what they can do, see more of their personality and everything, so I can have more characters to fawn over. But yeah, so far this has been great, and I'm really continuing to enjoy this. So tell me your thoughts rather on the episode down in the comments below, and thank you so much for tuning in. For now, I'm Connie, and I'm signing off. See y'all next time.
And though you've come through many obstacles